Planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. Plans are nothing, but planning is everything. A man who does not plan long ahead will find trouble at his doorstep. A very good morning to all of you. My name is Amir Mehboob, Assistant Professor, Department of Management, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. Today, I am here with all of you to take an important session on my module, and the name of the topic which I will be talking about today is planning. Yes, planning is very important. When I was asked to take a session on this topic here on this important platform for all of you on the topic planning, I started planning. I started to plan because I wanted to do well. I had some goal, I had some aim, and I had some desire. What was my desire? My desire to give a good presentation today, give good explanation of this topic, and to do perfect justice with the topic today. So I was doing a lot of planning, preparation and practice. So friends, starting with the first point of this topic, planning. But friends, before coming on the topic planning, I would like to talk something about the main topic with which planning is related, that is management. What is management all about? Well, we all know that management is the art of getting things done in a systematic manner. Management is to manage men, and T stands for tactfully. Yes, we require management everywhere. We study management in almost all the courses because we want to be good managers. We have to be good managers in our personal life, in our social life, and of course in our corporate life, in our business life, in our jobs, in our relationships, everywhere, to manage things in a systematic manner. So management is a very important aspect of everyone's life. And when we talk about management, the first function of management is planning. So coming to today's topic, that is planning, I would like to give you a brief overview that what all I'll be discussing in this topic today with all of you. Of course, we'll be starting with the meaning, definition, and of course the various concepts of planning with good examples, latest examples, what actually planning is all about. What is the role of planning in management? What is the importance of planning? What is the significance of planning? The nature and importance of planning. Why is planning so important? And what is the reason why planning is considered to be as the essence function or the primary function, or to be more precise, the main function of management? We'll be talking about this. And of course, what are the elements of planning? What are the various types of planning? What is the difference between plans and planning? Of course, planning, when I talk, planning is an important function. It requires a proper process. It has to have a systematic process. So, what is the actual process of planning? What are the various steps which are to be followed while taking important decisions about planning? At the same time, I will also be talking about the barriers to effective planning, forecasting, which is also one of the types of planning, and what is the difference between planning and forecasting, then decision making, various aspects of decision making, and of course, in the end, we will be talking about the role of planning in management. So friends, to begin with, what is planning? Planning, as we all know, is the first management function to be performed in the process of management. That is why planning is also called as the primary function or the essence function of management. Planning governs survival of the business, growth and prosperity of any enterprise, any business, any corporate house. Without planning, it is almost impossible for any enterprise to grow, to prosper, and of course to survive in the competitive world, in the competitive scenario. Of course, we all know that competition is so tough, yet changing so frequently. It never remains same. Competition is ever changing. So, to survive in this cutthroat competition with the entry of globalization, liberalization, open business policy, and of course, so many new techniques are being adopted in enterprises in running the business and in management. Of course, planning happens to have an important role, or I would like to say an integral role to play for the survival and growth of any enterprise. In simple words, we can say planning means looking ahead and chalking out future courses of action to be followed. Planning is deciding in advance what is to be done, when it is to be done, how it is to be done, and who is to do it. Very important. So, in other words, we can say well planned is half done. People say an unplanned project is like a ship without a destination, without a rudder. A ship is going in the sea, and if there is no planning, it is going here and there. Okay, haywire, it will go, everything will go, disturbed, everything will get disturbed. So, a well planned project is half done. And it is also said that well begun is half done. So, you will begin properly, you will begin in the right manner only when you have done your planning systematically, meticulously, efficiently, and effectively. I repeat, meticulously, systematically, effectively, and efficiently. Planning, planning deals with future and involves forecasting. Planning also involves forecasting, but mere forecasting cannot be considered as planning, mind you. We cannot say that only forecasting is planning. Planning requires assessing the future and providing resources for it. That is very important. So, we can say that planning is the fundamental management function which involves deciding beforehand. That is, deciding in advance. There is one more function of management which comes at the end, that is controlling. So, it is said that planning is peeping into the future, whereas controlling is peeping into the past. If you are planning, it means you are trying to peep into the future. You are trying to predict, you are trying to anticipate. And of course, on the basis of that, according to that, you are trying to plan. So, planning is the fundamental management function which involves deciding beforehand, deciding in advance. What deciding in advance? What deciding? Yes, deciding what is to be done, when is it to be done, how is it to be done, and who is going to do it. What, when, where, why, which, who, everything. You are trying to prepare a road map. You are trying to decide that which route are you going to go to reach to your destination. Every management works with certain objectives, with certain goals, predetermined goals. Yes, management is deciding in advance what is to be done for the attainment and for the achievement of predetermined goals. And friends, dear students, predetermined goals and objectives can smoothly and effectively achieved with the help of proper planning. So, planning is an intellectual process which deals or which I can say which lays down an organization's objectives and develops various courses of action by which the organizations can achieve their objectives. This is what we have been discussing. So, in simple words, if you want to give the definition of planning, various authors have given different definitions, but the most precise definition of planning is deciding in advance what is to be done, how it is to be done, when it is to be done, and who is to do it. Planning is deciding about the future course of action. Planning is peeping into the future. So, after having the meaning of planning clear in our mind, let's talk something about the objectives of planning. What is the purpose of planning? Planning helps in effective forecasting. Yes, you cannot forecast effectively without proper planning. We see so many forecasting done, weather forecasting, business forecasting, corporate forecasting, and so many types of forecasting. So, it requires systematic and proper planning. Planning of course provides certainty in the activities. It brings certainty, in the activities. You are confident, you are sure. If you are well planned, a well planned project is, definitely going to take you to success. Attainment of the predetermined goals and objectives. Yes, that is what every business aims for. That is what is the main target or the main function of management. Attainment of the predetermined objectives, predetermined goals. Of course, planning gives a specific direction to the organizations. Proper direction is very much required. It gives proper direction, and at the same time, planning establishes coordination in the in the enterprise. It brings proper coordination in the enterprise. Otherwise, lack of coordination will be very problematic, and it will make things difficult for the employees as well as for the employers, for the workers, and for every member of the enterprise, for every member of the business house. Planning, so I repeat, planning brings coordination in the enterprise, and planning also helps in creating healthy competition. Healthy competition is very important, and any business entrepreneur or any business enterprise, any business house can expect healthy competition only when systematic approach and systematic coordination and systematic planning is there. Planning also provides economy in the management. Management is the art of getting things done in a systematic manner. Systematic also means in an economic manner. Every business aims at profit maximization, and profit maximization is only possible when all the resources are utilized economically, properly, and of course there is not much of wastages. So, if you are properly planned, if the enterprises are properly planned, it will bring economy in the management, in the organization, and planning can forecast the risk. Business, there is a lot of risk. Risk is always there in business, and planning can minimize, or it can forecast, sorry, not minimize, it can forecast the risk, and then we can start working. How can we avoid the problems which can come with proper planning, decision making, and various steps provide. Planning, another point which comes to my mind is planning also provides important information about the various procedures, various modus operandi, various techniques, various corporate culture, and so many things which are required for the smooth functioning of the enterprise. It also helps in facing competition. There are so many points which we can keep on discussing about the objectives of planning. Planning is very much helpful in the accomplishment of budget, accomplishment of goals. Every management, every organization has some budget. So, budget can only be achieved when there is proper management. So, after explaining the objectives of planning, another important aspect of planning, which is also known as nature of planning. Of course, a part of objects of planning only. What is the nature of planning, or characteristics, or elements, or essentials? Planning focuses on achieving objectives. Yes, management, every management begins with planning, and planning begins with determination of objectives, determining objectives. Yes, in the absence of objectives, no organization can ever be thought about. We cannot even think of the existence of any organization without objectives, without goals, without an aim, without a target. With the determining of objectives, the way to achieve the objective is decided in the planning. We can take so many examples of planning. I will be sharing one good example of planning, how planning focuses on achieving objectives. When you plan something that the company has got this much turnover and they are expecting this much sale, so they will accordingly plan properly about the advertising, about publicity, about branding, about sales promotion, about their marketing strategies, about their policies about personnel management, sales, retail, and everything. So, all the planning will lead to achieving of objectives. Time to time, planning should be, analyzed. That is why one important characteristic of planning is it should not be very rigid, it should be flexible. Because if at any point of time, if any entrepreneur or any business house or any manager finds, if any manager comes to know that the planning is not working as it was expected, so there should be proper amendments, proper changes. Planning is also, as I told you in the beginning, planning is the primary function of management. Yes, this is something which is very important and you should know. Planning is the first important function of management, and the other functions, as you know, after planning comes they are organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, supervision, motivation, so many functions. But management starts with planning. It is the absence of planning, no other function of management can be performed. All the other functions of management, that is organizing, staffing, controlling, directing, precede planning, come after planning only. So planning is like the base or the foundation of management. This is the base of other functions of management. For example, let me tell you, suppose if a company, plans to achieve a sales target. Okay, I have a company and I have a sales target which is to be achieved. All right, for example, of 100 crores in a year. So in order to achieve this target, the second function of management will be organizing, which will come into operation. Under it, under organizing, important decisions about purchase, sales, production, financial activities will be decided upon. And in order to complete, these activities, different departments of management, different departments of business and positions will be decided. And that will come the authority, responsibility, delegation of authority, centralization, decentralization, all these positions will be decided about the organization, about the hierarchy. So under organizing, always, and after this work of organizing is done, information about the number of different people who are required at different levels to achieve these objectives will be find out. 100 crore target can be achieved after these points, after taking these points into consideration, and then how many people will be required. So this job will be performed under staffing. So similarly, planning is the base of other functions also, like directing and controlling. Before some time I told you, planning is peeping into the future, whereas controlling is peeping into the past. Planning is all pervasive. Yes, all pervasive. Means, so for example, since the job of planning, is performed by the managers at different levels working in the enterprise, it is, it is appropriate to, we can very appropriately call planning is an important function of every manager. Every manager has to necessarily perform the function of management, whether it is sales department, marketing department, production, personnel, finance, retail, office, any department. The manager or the employees or the workers of that of all those departments have to necessarily perform or necessarily take care of planning process. So that is why it is said planning is all pervasive. Planning is a continuous process. There are various reasons why we call planning as a continuous process. Plans are prepared for a particular period of time. Yes, stipulated for a definite time. Hence, there is a need for a few plans after the expiry of that period. Once that period expires, next plans should come into, action, should come into picture. In case of any discrepancy plans, they should be revised, In case of rapid changes in the business environment, plans are to be revised and revamped. Yes, you cannot, I told you, planning should be flexible, so that in case there are any changes in the business enterprise and any changes in the policies or rules and regulations, we can easily revise or revamp the planning. Planning is futuristic. Yes, planning decides the plan of action, what is to be done, how is it to be done, when is it to be done, and by whom it is to be done. All these questions are related to future. Under planning, answers to all these questions are found out. While an effort is made to find out these answers, the possibility of social, economic, technical and various changes in the legal framework should also be kept in mind. Yes, All these factors should be kept in mind. Since planning is concerned with future activities, that is why it is called futuristic. Planning is futuristic. For example, let's take an example. Suppose a company is planning to market a new product. Okay, suppose a company is planning to introduce or bring a new product in the market. While doing so, the company will have to keep in mind the customs and the interests and the tastes of the people, and also the possibilities of any changes in them. That is why it is deciding about future. What are the needs and the requirements and the likes and dislikes and the market trends in future will be. Planning involves decision making also. Now here another important term comes, that is decision making. So planning becomes a necessity when there are many alternatives to do a job. A person who is doing planning or a planner chooses the most appropriate alternative. Therefore, it can be asserted that planning is a process of selecting the best and rejecting the inappropriate. Selecting the best alternative. It is therefore observed that planning involves decision making. There are so many examples. For example, a person who lives in a town where only commerce stream is taught in schools. Suppose, okay, I am living in a town where only commerce stream is taught in schools. And now suppose my son or my daughter has passed 10th class examination and wants to he or she wants to get admission in 10 plus 11th class. Now it is evident that there is only one option for me, for my son or for my daughter, that is commerce. There are no options, so I don't have to think or plan anything. That is the only option available for me. On the other hand, if all the other faculties, that is management, science, arts, everything, all the other areas are there available in the school, then my son or my daughter will definitely have to think and plan about the subject he or she wants to study. It would have been nothing but decision making in this case. In this case, my son, my daughter and me will have to take a decision as to what subject to opt in 11th standard. Planning is also a mental exercise. It cannot be simply done without putting your brains into it. Planning is known as a mental exercise because it is related to thinking before doing something. A planner has mainly to think about various questions. As I told you before, what are the various questions a planner has to decide? Say for example, what to do, how to do it, when to do it, who is to do it, and for whom it is to be done, and all these things. Planning has got many essentials also. If you want to make planning successful, useful, beneficial, meaningful and above all effective, it is very necessary that there should be some important factors which must be borne in mind while planning. So planning should be simple and easy to understand. Planning should be comprehensive, very important. It should be flexible according to time, according to the nature, according to the requirement, according to the business trends, according to the enterprise needs. Plans can be modified, revised or revamped. Planning should also be balanced and economical. I have already explained, planning should be economical. Not too much of money and not too much of effort should be spent on planning so that it spoils, it destroys or it disturbs the enterprise budget. That also has to be kept in mind. It should not take too much of time, otherwise it will become a demerit of planning, it will become a disadvantage. It should be economical, it should not be time consuming, it should be a continuous process. Once the planning objectives are achieved, next plans should be made. There should be consistency in plans, and plans should always be in writing. Consistency and plans should be always in writing. Okay. Writing means, if they are in written form, if the plans are written, you can remember very well. That is why, many of us maintain our diaries or our handbooks. We keep some notes in our pocket, some small slips on which we note down what is to be done about daily planning, weekly planning, monthly planning, yearly planning, short-term plans, long-term plans, medium-term plans, these things. Simple. Planning should be simple. Good plans should be simple, planning should be simple and understandable. They should not be very complicated. And every employee of the institution may easily understand and implement it and may give his valuable contributions to the achievements of the goals. Every employee or every person of the management is not an intellectual. So they should be able to understand. The simplicity of the plan is quite essential in all those areas of human activities where large organization activities are required. So when plans are simple, then of course they should have well-defined objectives. A good plan is based on well-defined objectives. These objectives may be for the functional departments of the total organization or for the individual. They should be fully unambiguous and rational. Okay? If the objectives are not clear, neither the enterprise may function successfully and efficiently, nor other departments may provide cooperation and their contribution in the right direction. Planning should be comprehensive. Planning, we all know is the process of selection, the right course of action in which the best alternative is selected from various alternatives. But according to the principle of planning, the selection process should be economical so that the objectives of the organization may be achieved at low costs. A plan which is good but expensive is considered to be a bad plan, is not good planning. However, you can say for the economic plans, it is necessary that minimum sources may be spent on the formalities and on formulation, execution and evaluation of the plans. Planning should be stable. Stability of any plan means it is necessary that it should be formulated in consonance with the long-term circumstances, and hence this should be based on the forecast prepared on the basis of proper, rational and factual facts regarding the future circumstances, problems and difficulties. Planning should be free from ambiguity. There should not be ambiguous plans. And a very important element of a good plan is that it should be free from ambiguity so that it may be understood and executed easily. If the plan is ambiguous, it will lead to differences between the officers and the employees. There will be a lot of controversy, there will be a lot of confusion, various doubts will arise and several problems will emerge, and efficient implementation and operation of such plans will not at all be possible. So, planning should be absolutely free from ambiguity. Plans should be balanced, for effective and good planning, it should be balanced. What is the meaning of balance? This balance should be in use of proper balance in resources for achieving the objectives in long-term and short-term plans and in all the departmental plans and enterprise plans. If some areas of functional areas are left in the plan or is given relatively less attention, the achievement of the objectives on the basis of plans may be full of problems. We all know what are the functional areas of management. Marketing management, production management, financial management, advertising management, sales management, human resources management and so on. So, planning should be unambiguous, planning should be rational and planning should be complete in all respect. So, I hope you people have got some idea about the concept, nature, elements, characteristics and importance and significance of planning. Because right in the beginning I told you, planning is one of the most important functions of management, because management is to manage men tactfully, and men can be managed tactfully if proper planning is there. Management is the art of getting things done in a systematic manner and achieving the predetermined goals and objectives, and those goals and objectives can only be achieved with the help of proper, efficient, systematic and perfect planning. So, that is why most of the authors, in the words of Keith Davis, he rightly said, an unplanned project will definitely lead the management or the enterprise to failure or to a fiasco. So, for the sake of successful execution of management, organization and enterprise, proper planning is very much required. That is why planning is called as the most important and an essence function or the primary function of management. Thank you very much. That's all from my side for today. In the next module, in the next session, I'll be continuing with the same topic of planning, but of course with some new areas and some new dimensions and some new aspects of planning. Thank you very much. So please keep planning for your very bright future and a successful life. My best wishes to all of you. Thank you very much. God bless you all.